I gotta like make out with it.
Yeah, you gotta like.
Nails are tight.
Oh, thank you.
And then have it be at an angle because you don't want to go right into it because then you'll pop too much.
You sound really good like that, actually.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that sounds great. Is this perfect?
Luke has a bass booster in his mic.
He does. I think we all need to like try to fight his volume.
I had to like.
That's really, the Filipino in him, though.
I had to really dial it in for the bass booster.
I don't know, just like the volume of his voice.
Yeah, well, you too, my dear friend. So
I'm loud. I'm loud. I don't.
What? I'm loud.
Your levels are all the way down. You're like, well, I think it's fine.
She's on set. She doesn't need to like a bullhorn or anything. Like
not
the model's like
never an issue on set.
Yeah, hilarious.
My volume never.
Yeah. Guys, how's it going?
Are we recording?
We are recording.
Are we live?
Don't worry, we didn't get any of the super secret stuff.
No, they're not.
Yeah,
super secret
stuff. Guys, hi, welcome to I Shoot LA. My name is Lucas Passmore. Sitting across from me, my partner in crime with a K. His name is Kuestions Korner.
What's up?
Still racist. It's still racist.
Yeah, he got a soundboard.
I got a soundboard.
I do love it. Though.
And to my right, the loveliest Los Angeles rose blooming in a city of,
weeds.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, I was like, what's a nice way to describe LA? There's not really. It's Emilynn Rose, everybody.
Welcome.
Yeah, they cut off right there. The studio audience is really good about cutting off right on cue. Yeah, in cue. Guys, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. You are a busy person, Emilynn. You shoot more than I think anybody I've ever seen ever. And you made time for us, so thank you so much.
Of course, you guys are the best. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I shoot all the time.
Yeah, well, now you're buying a house.
Great.
You
have things coming up.
Yeah, but like honestly, I do not know someone who works more than you. Like guy or girl, 20 years in or second year, no one works more than you. Like I'm like, oh, I'll post a meme and like, oh, look at this bagel that I found. Doesn't it look delicious? You're like, hey, I'm in Aruba shooting for 4 days on this thing, and then I'm back for 2 days, and then I'm going to Mexico. Like, it's crazy. But we're gonna get all into that in a second. But first, we got a little segment we like to call Katch-up Korner.
Katch-up Korner, what's been going on? What's been going on?
Who did this?
It's so good.
It's so good.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that is our good friend. Have you ever shot her? Sion Mikkel?
I have not.
She, you know her in a heartbeat if I showed her to you.
She seems like that to me.
I've been friends with her. She's at Wilhelmina for forever. I've been friends with her for 10 years. I've shot her for 1 million jobs and 1 million tests. I still to this day don't know how to say her name. Her name's like Xian, like, and her last name's like Mikol. I'm like, Michael? And she's like, Lucas, F you. You should know my name by now. I'm like, I don't. I'll never.
I was just going to say, you really butchered that one.
Yeah. Cian. I know it's Cian. Cian, thank you so much. But Katch-up Korner, Shintani, what's been going on?
Shooting. Lots of shooting.
Oh, good.
Which, yeah, not as much as Emmy, but like, yeah, we're trying to keep up right now. I'm going to Hawaii tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a few travel jobs. We got festival season coming up. A few
walk us through festival season. Like, what does exactly that mean for a fashion photographer?
So I don't know if you'd want to call it a fashion photographer thing, but as far as like capturing content throughout the weekend of festival, you're just kind of there and you're shooting influencers and models and whatnot that show up to the event that have some sort of notoriety.
You are partying, sir.
Yeah.
You are. Let's just be real here.
There may or may not be alcohol involved within the premise of shooting these kind of events because, like the environment.
You handle it always so well. You create the most amazing shots. I'm like, how can you do it? I'm over here telling them
on
like
these trips before.
Yeah. Wait, you guys did the Revolve job in Mexico, right? At like the Jay-Z compound, right?
I'm just always the infamous +1. Like I'm literally known like to be everyone's like, oh, you're always here. You're in all the trips.
Yeah, nice.
So she kind of knows what goes on some of the trips. But
well, what's been your experience shooting festivals at the festival circuit and everything? Like, content is fashion. We are selling merchandise, so technically, but not really, but kind of. But so, what's been your experience?
So I'm normally with the artist. So I'll, it's not really like me shooting around like different types of people. I'll probably be like the artist's like personal photographer or the talent's personal photographer. But I'm really trying to steer away from it, to be honest. I love doing it, but I love campaigns. So, but if I could go with like a dope artist or talent, like, I mean, I'm always there.
Yeah. It's not a bad way to spend a week,
at all.
in some kind of crystal blue Caribbean, Nice. So that's what you're kind of prepping for that.
Yep. That's coming up.
Nice.
Just wrapped up a few other jobs. So
excellent.
get
Very
a little
cool.
breather vacay in Hawaii, which would be nice.
I'm shooting a lovely designer women's golf line soon. And I may have picked up a new e-com client. So that's not necessarily...
Where are you shooting golf at?
No, it's going to be in studio. Yeah, I was on the golf team in high school. That was the extent of my athletic prowess in high school.
Yeah.
So you're modeling and shooting.
I mean, I could tell him to... I could teach him a thing or two. That sounded weird. I'm gonna edit that out. Emilynn, though, what's been going on with you? Let's catch up.
Oh, man.
I think the last time we all hung out together was like...
Oh, my God. Wait, I don't know. You were wearing a Minion suit. And we were trying to do TikTok last year.
Yeah, you had just gotten to TikTok, Shantani. I do believe I think it was like Black Lives Matter was like really happening at the moment.
So wow, I haven't seen I have not seen you guys since 2021.
No, I think like all of us together. I mean,
or 2020.
2020.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter was like in the heat of it. I remember
2020, bro.
Yeah. 2020. I haven't seen you guys since 2020.
And we all like kind of
smoked
herbal cigarettes.
Arugula.
And
no, is it arugula?
And we had a deep conversation about race relations in this country.
Oh, we did. I was...
Yeah. Oh, by the way, again, progressive podcast in China, 2.5 Asians at this table.
Woo! Wow.
That's three. That's three. That's three.
Hey,
2.5.
API, what's up?
That's it.
Hello.
Thank you. But Emilynn's trying to light a candle off mic. So
definitely a really good smelling candle.
Get a little closer to the mic. Get up on the mic. So what's been going on? Catch us up.
Well, I just shot a Harper's Bazaar cover coming out in May, and literally just did that last week. I have a travel job pending to Turks, so hopefully that goes through.
To Turks and Caicos?
Yeah.
Which I did not know how to pronounce for the longest time.
Turks and Caicos.
I was like, cake?
That was actually the last time I saw Shantani.
Was in Turks and Caicos?
Last year in Turks and Caicos. Yeah.
Wow.
That's actually funny.
How fancy, everybody.
True.
Tell us more about you guys' fancy trips.
We have to travel and
the British accent comes out all of a sudden with tea and crumpets.
Tea and crumpets. It felt fancy.
So I guess to get on the mic a little bit more.
Oh my gosh, I'm really like I'm about to make out with this mic.
She's on it with the mic. Yeah.
I'm on it, right? Like this is
you're on it. You're on it right now.
So possibly Turks and Caicos pending. Anything else either right in the rearview mirror or on the horizon?
I also just did like a really big fragrance campaign a couple weeks ago. That was really good. I did like a campaign in Palm Springs.
Wait, question.
Yeah.
Fragrance campaign. Was it like the kind where you just do something really overly sexually romantic?
And did you get free fragrance?
And then it goes fragrance.
And I got to photograph it and direct it, so that was really fun.
Oh, so it was video and
cool.
It was photo and video.
wow.
Yeah.
How are you as a director? Because you're like so nice, and I mean that in all the best ways. But you're like so positive, and I just in my head I think of directors as like screaming a-holes.
No, I think you know what I had so I co-directed it. So the DP co-director, she's also a girl, and so we just vibed really well. I feel like a lot of my sets are all about good vibes though. Like I love like dancing on set, like laughing, and I'm always working with like my teammates that like I pretty much my lighting team and my producers, like I pretty much I've been blessed enough where I'm working with like a lot of the same people, so we kind of have like this energy on set where we all just know each other, have a good time, but we all know to like get the work done. So
how long have you been with your current team? Like you must have created like a shorthand and a chemistry, like you said, like you just kind of work. Like how long have you guys been kind of that unit?
Yeah, I feel like some I've worked with for like 5+ years, and then some I've worked with like just like in the last like year or two. So we're always like, I'm always trying to grow my team. And but the people who have, like right now, my best friend is actually like one of the main producers I work with.
Nice.
So I've known her for like 6-7 years, and I'm like so happy that we're working together.
Well, spoilers jumping ahead,
amazing.
in Kuestions Korner, there's actually someone who wants to work for you. So we're gonna ask you exactly how that happened. But anyway, jumping back, we're not gonna get too far ahead of ourselves. So you said, team sounds like it's a well-oiled machine.
Yes. And I feel like I'm in such a great place where I feel like my team is like people that I can like do my thing, where I'm talking to the client, like I'm planning the shoot, and my team's in the background just like making it happen. And I'm like, I really, sorry.
That candle we're burning is just kind of little. Yeah, the vanilla jasmine is just really catching in the throat.
Yeah, and so like I just feel like it's really great that like I get to like have a team where I trust, and we just flow really well together, and so that's really cool.
Very cool. Yeah. That was a flawless edit, Shintani. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's gonna be a boop.
Yeah. There's no better time than right now to perhaps open this metaphorical door, or literal one, and enter the Wayback Machine.
Woo.
We're going back.
Oh man.
To Emilynn Rose's humblest of beginnings. Emilynn, how do you get to where you are now? First off,
how did photography start?
Yeah, how is photography? What is photography?
When I got my first camera, I just fell in love. Like I got my first camera at 16.
Okay.
And
why?
Because I was a troublemaker.
What?
And I was a party girl. And my mom was like, just pick up a hobby, any hobby, like, whatever. And I was like, at the time, I was shooting like with your phone, the flip phone, and I would take like pictures of my friends. And then I got like the first iPhone, and then I got like a little point and shoot. And then I was just like, oh, well, I really like taking pictures of like my friends. And then so my mom, it was honestly the best decision she's ever made, because other
than to birth you.
Oh,
that was probably that was probably the best decision, was to birth you.
No, this is really the first. Because, when I tell you guys, like, I was like an insane party animal. I love partying. I mean, you guys, I met these guys partying, so.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. You don't know because you guys party too much.
That's right.
Yeah, and so, and then so she was like, okay, well, we'll save up for Christmas, and like, I'll get you a camera. And so, my mom, we're not rich. Like, we didn't come from like a rich background at all.
Where are you from?
I grew up in like Hawthorne, Inglewood area.
All right.
Yeah, and so my mom's a single mom. Bless her, she's amazing. And so she saved up. My birthday is near Christmas, so it's like in January. And my mom was like, "Okay, we'll half it. Like, I saved up money. She like put half on it, and I bought a camera. And I bought like the T2i Rebel from Costco.
Nice.
And like,
is the kit?
The kit with the lens that comes with it.
It's like the 18 to 50 some shit. Like,
18 to 36, right?
Yeah.
And then so, and then like, honestly, I swear to you guys, like when I opened the box, like, and touched it, like I just fell in love. Like,
I love that.
I literally brought it with me everywhere. Like, I became the yearbook. So I like stopped, like I didn't stop partying still, but like I started like joining clubs, which was like, I started getting involved.
Document the party now.
Yeah, and so like I joined yearbook, and then I was like the fashion club president, and then like I started like, taking pictures of like my high school life and like everything I was doing in high school. And at the time, I was like watching America's Next Top Model, and there was all these cool photo shoots, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I want to do that. So like,
interesting. That's where you realize kind of like there's a bigger world out there.
There's a bigger world, and like that's kind of where I honestly fit in. Like that's like it's eccentric, it's cool, like
ANTM, right?
Yeah,
America's Next Top Model.
Thanks, Tai.
Yeah, and so I started like me and my friends from Fashion Club, we would start dressing each other up, planning the shoot, putting it together. Sounds familiar?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like what we do today.
Yeah.
So it's funny to think that like what I was doing literally at 16 is what I'm doing today, where I'm dressing people up, shooting them, putting like a shoot together and everything. It's hilarious.
It's interesting because So when I say I didn't buy a camera until I was 30, I do mean that because it was just disposable cameras before that. So when I was in high school,
because when dinosaurs were there,
yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh!
Dinosaurs. So they're disposable film cameras, those little Kodak yellow ones. But when I was in high school, I was the guy with always the at that time disposable camera, always documenting my friends and high school life. And I realized, you know, kind of in a couple other interviews I've done, that's kind of where the storytelling came from.
Yeah.
You know, do you feel that's like why? What caused you to kind of always the need? Is it because we're both Filipino? Oh, I'm half. But like it was that need to like family and you know nostalgia because we're very like warm and family centric like kind of culture. Like what do you think? Like why were you always needing that? Like why were you always the girl with the camera?
I didn't get close to my family until I was literally out of the house, so I can't relate on that part. But for me, it was still that sense of being like around friends and like being happy and just like, I don't know. I was also very dependent on like being around people, you know, back when I was younger. So I think, and like, I mean, even till this day, I have a fear of missing out. I have FOMO. Like anytime my friends are out, I'm like, I'm going to meet you there. Like,
which is why you're doing this podcast. You're like, I cannot
be there. Like,
we're here for the party.
Yeah, exactly. Very cool. So you got your new camera and you touched it and something kind of spoke to you. You were watching America's Next Top Model and you realized that like, oh, this can transcend beyond. So then what like jump forward, like what happens?
Fashion.
You start on Model Mayhem or like what are you doing?
Well, yes,
but this is before Instagram and TikTok, right?
If Model Mayhem, like yes, yes, I was on Model Mayhem.
The start.
Like, the start.
Yeah.
But honestly, Instagram. So I mean, okay. I was still in high school when Instagram came out. Yeah. So
Jesus, I'm old. Oh my God. Are you serious?
Sorry.
No. Yeah, we're dating ourselves.
You guys are definitely showing your age.
Yeah. Jesus. All right, go on.
No, but I mean, yeah, you know, like everyone's journey is different, and I always say like, what you know, however you go in your journey is the way you do it. You know.
Yeah.
Don't say I said that because that did not sound. That did not sound like
the quote was, "Go on your journey. That's how you do it."
Go on your journey. Everyone's journey is different.
So that's your journey.
I'm gonna use that as the marketing like little thing on Instagram. Go on your journey. That's how you do it.
That's how you just go. No, just go. Honestly,
but really, no.
But really, you do just have to go for it because you know, my mom, like, she was so afraid of this career choice of mine.
As was my parents.
Yeah, and so she was like, I just need you to go to college. Like, I need you to have like, you know, a degree. So I tried to go to art college. I went for my freshman year. I went to Otis.
Where's that?
Near Culver City or Marina Del Rey. And so I went for a whole year, and I was just like, I'm already working at that point. So after high school, so when I was in high school, a little backstory, I started on Facebook too. So I like was posting on Facebook. I was getting like jobs in my area, just like shooting like maternity, baby photos, like anything that had to do with photography I was doing. I was just figuring it out. And then so I tried the college thing, and my mom, and I was already working, and then I decided that like, I'm like, okay, this is not for me. I don't have the capacity to like stay in school. If you guys know me, I'm super ADD.
What? No, what? You know?
Yeah. And so like had no attention span to just sit in a classroom. And so I pretty much was like, okay, like I'm gonna quit college, Mom. Like, would you rather put your money in college or invest in me? And my mom said, no, you're gonna have to figure that out.
You have an Asian mom. Of course you said no.
Yeah, my mom was like, no. If you want to go figure out this photography thing, then you're going to have to move out, figure it out, and do it. And then go for it. Yeah. And honestly, that's what I did. But if it wasn't for the pressure of me knowing I had to survive off photography, I don't know if I would have gotten here, you know?
Yeah, I was just going to say that, like, in a way, because in that moment as a kid, you must have been disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, honestly, that drive, like the no safety net, like you're jumping out the plane without a parachute, like you got to figure out how to land. Oh, that was good. Should I quote myself?
Oh, for sure.
Jesus, Passmore, that was great. Anyway, so you said so you're in college and you're bored to death and you can't pay attention because you're already working. What are you shooting? How are you working?
I was literally shooting like quinceañeras, maternities.
Oh, dude.
Yo, I'm from Hawthorne, so there was no like fashion shoots there, you know. So, but I was just doing it, and then
I mean, you're doing dollar signs with like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My mindset was, do I get a job or is my job photography right now?
Yeah.
And I save up to become a fashion photographer.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. Like I was doing, but you know, I wasn't at the time. I was kind of posting it. I didn't know my direction yet. You know, when you first start I always tell people you do want to try different things. Like you never know. Like you know, even when you enter the fashion industry, there's so many areas.
Oh no, 100%
it's fashion,
fair.
beauty, lifestyle, like you know, streetwear,
product.
Like
Well,
it's just there's so many. So you know, like, and then when you find it, stick with it though.
Yeah.
Well, it's like my old boss. Like I remember when I was assisting, he's like, you should always try shooting one of everything. He's like, I don't care if it's like a quinceañera, I don't care if it's a maternity, wedding.
Yeah.
He's like, never
Male nudes,
whatever you want. You want to shoot just full shaft, just hit it. But like he said you don't know how good you are of a photographer until you actually shoot everything, because you can never say that anything's below or above you if you've never shot it before.
I still have the utmost respect for wedding photographers. Like,
weddings?
I've done 3 weddings in my early day. Like, I can't talk about pressure.
And I've tried it all. And honestly, like, I think that was another push. It was like, I hated doing events. I hated doing
I hate events.
I hated doing family pictures. So I was like, I need to get out of this. Like, I need to, you know, it's also like one of those things that it's like, every time you shoot as well, you're always practicing, right? So you're learning your settings. And that's that's another thing. Like you can go to as much school as you want and learn it in school, but it's until you get on the field and actually maneuver your camera yourself to figure out what you do like, or what's your style, or what's your aesthetics, you know? And I'm often learning on jobs. I'm getting paid very well. I'm like, oh, well, I didn't know that. Mental note for next time. Yeah. That's why I have a team, because I'm like, you are way better at this job. I'm going to use you, and I'm.
No, but I think that's important. Like at the end of the day, it's like you're the delegator, you're the director. You know, it's not your job to know everything, but it's your job to know the direction and like, you know.
Well, you're the aesthetic. I mean, like you are the final say on aesthetics.
You're the showrunner.
Yeah. But it's a beautiful thing when, you know, you start from, you know, like really doing everything yourself, and then like being able to one day, like I look back sometimes and I'm like, dang, like these are my people, you know, like our whole goal is to make sure this shoot becomes epic, you know, and like all the time. And so I think that's also really great, because honestly, I know how to do stuff too. Like I'm really great at lighting myself. So it's not like it's not that I necessarily, but it's not like I could do that job anymore, you know?
Well, it's also so you can concentrate on like the creative and like what you're trying to direct and whatnot too. Like,
but what I like about that is you're able to communicate, you know the terminology, you know what you're talking about. So you can say to your lighting tech or your first assistant, I want this and use this. I want it to look like this. Got it? Cool. Because I have to go calm the client down because talent's late and I don't know if we're going to make our day or not. You know, because like that is literally your job. So but I really want to like go back onto what you just said. Like you just said, I'm glad that if push came to shove, I could do everything myself. And like, I'm the same way. It's like that's what, you know, my mentor, Shitani, you're going to laugh. My mentor, Kessler Tran, kind of imparted to me was just like, have nothing, need nothing. So you have you have a body and you have a lens. You have nothing else, no assistant, no reflectors, no scrim, no fill, no help, and you can still make something look okay and passable, or or even better, great. Then that's where you want to be, because that may come through in the future where, okay, your grip chuck's 2 hours late. Your assistant got COVID. It rained today. So you need to be able to pivot because you've done it all for so long by yourself.
That's why I always say too, like what makes a great photographer is learning how to improvise.
Yeah.
You can't you can put if something was thrown at me, I need to be able to shift everything, right?
Yeah.
And so that's really what makes a good photographer.
You guys are so encouraging, because I would just run away.
Shintani, whatever, dude. Shantani, I don't think I know anybody who knows more about lighting and set experience
I gotta
than
go.
Oh my gosh.
anything other than you, man.
Seriously.
I'm like, ring, ring. My mom's calling. I gotta go.
Yeah. That's just your thumb and your pinky finger you're talking into. Shut up, I gotta go.
But going back to what you were saying, like, yes, even though I could do it, I realized too, people are like, oh, you're so young to be here. But see, I've always learned how to delegate.
Yeah.
Like, I knew when it was time for me to like delegate.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of times I meet people and they're always like, oh, well, I could do this or I could. I've realized too, like, some big clients, they want to know that you have a team.
Yeah.
Like if I pitched a rate to a big client that was low and there'd be like, something might happen.
Yeah,
like, you know, and so I realized that too.
You never want to the saying is you never want to buy half price sushi.
Yeah, no, but it's true though. I mean, like I remember telling one of our other mutual friends, but like he was asking me about bidding on a job, and he was like, "Well, I only shoot with this amount of gear. This is the client, and it was massive." And he was like, "What do I do?" And I was like, "Triple your rate."
Seriously.
And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "No, like triple everything." I was like rent things that like make zero sense and just have them fire off at like zero power.
Yeah.
But just have it. I was like, because no huge commercial key art talent like client is going to say, oh yeah, it's cool. Just show up with your camera.
Yeah.
Good to
they
go.
want to see they want to see the Para 222 and the 133 and
like client wants to see a production for what they're doing, whether or not it's going to like actually be significant or not to it. It could be, but for the most part,
yeah, at least you have it.
Yeah.
Just have it.
If you need
or
it.
sometimes for me too, I've realized like when I rent equipment, it's just is there just in case.
Yeah,
like there's been so many times where like I always rent an 8x8 just in case.
Yeah.
And so like
smart.
There's a lot of times we don't, but then there's a lot of times where like, shit, I'm glad we had that.
Yeah.
Oh, can I cuss?
yeah.
I'm saying-
Yeah, it's exclusively kids under 12 who listen to I Shoot LA.
Yes. But it's even like team wise, like same factor as teams. Like I remember I had an argument with one of like my an art director one time where there was just like we happened to have on the beach perfect like 10% overcast day.
Yeah.
So we had the sun, but it was a perfect like layer on top.
Yeah.
I had 5 dudes on set because I was like, well, we're gonna put a 20 by up. So like I don't want this to fly away. We need sash. We need like 5,000 pounds of sand, everything else.
Yeah.
Well, you're on the beach, so you have enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then, so we're on the beach. I'm like, all right, cool. We can anchor down if we need to. We get that perfect layer of overcast, so we don't need it. Halfway through the shoot, they go, what do you have all this steam for? And I was like, well, it's in case.
Yeah.
It's in case it happened.
Yeah, because that perfect little layer can burn off at any moment.
Yeah. And I was like, so if that
what
happens,
if it flies on crew?
Exactly. And I was like, and
You know?
that's what you have your team for. You have your team there to make sure that everything goes perfectly.
I have my team just so someone laughs at my terrible jokes.
I have that too.
Yeah, seriously.
Shout out to Bing.
So, hey, Bing. Bing gets mad. I had wings with Bing the other night. He's like, God, you guys need to talk about me more on the podcast. I was like, bro.
I always will.
He's a shared guy who helps us out sometimes. He texts for us.
What up, Bing?
Bing, are you happy
Shout
now?
out to Bing.
He's so happy right now. Crew, bad news. You only got me on the commercials this episode. Shantani is working at Coachella currently. I know you can't see it, but I totally did heavy sarcastic air quotes there. Just kidding, I'm jealous. Anyway, I watched a guide to podcasting on YouTube, and I'm supposed to do what's termed as a call to action now. Like, I don't have anyone's phone number, so I can't call you. So I'll just ask here. If you love the podcast, I mean, even if you like mildly like the podcast, please consider following the show on Apple, Spotify, or whatever platform you're listening on. YouTube counts too. We're on YouTube, by the way, with pictures and everything. Thanks in advance for supporting I Shoot LA. And now, back to the show. So when do you feel that you, like, what was that job where you felt like Bonafide, where you're like, holy shit, I can, without feeling like a poser, not that you ever would feel that way, but like, I feel like I have arrived. I can honestly hold my own and I can go into a room with the photographers and confidently say, hey, yeah, I'm also a fashion photographer. Yeah. What was that job and why what made you feel that way?
Well, okay. I had this client who owned a suit company and, you know, I don't even remember how I met him, but it was so random. And then one day he was like, we're shooting Jamie Foxx. Like,
casual.
The actor.
Ready. Yeah, Jamie Foxx. But yeah, and then he was like, he was like, we're going, it'll be like next week, blah, blah, blah. And then so it was like a campaign for his suit with Jamie Foxx. And then I was just like, oh, wait, I'm literally in Jamie Foxx's house, like shooting him for this suit. And then that's kind of like from there on, it just like started kind of going. And then my first fashion client though was Pretty Little Thing.
Oh,
and
really?
So, yeah. And so that was, when I really got that. I mean, not like first, but like the first legit, like big company.
Where you felt like
Where I felt, because I was shooting like a bunch of like, smaller designers and like smaller just Instagram brands.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I would even go on Melrose and show my portfolio to like the store owners and be like, if you guys need a photographer, like, I was a hustler.
So real quick, that's hyper-local content for our listeners in other states. Melrose Avenue is a very historic, very famous, like what do we say, about a mile long between Fairfax and La Brea.
Yeah.
It's a mile-long stretch of road that is just lined. It's like store after store after store, but they are kind of independently owned. They're smaller. Quality varies, and they're always kind of shifting in and out. But like, I don't know, there's probably all along that row 100 stores. So you would literally go in like, hey, I'm Emilynn. Like, here's my. Do you have like a little postcard or something or leave behind?
I need to send you guys I still have it. I have my business card.
Oh my god, I should send you guys mine too.
It's so bad.
I even put pictures in the front of it, like with like. Just everything that I shoot.
Oh my god,
so bad.
I had like visco filters all over mine with like super nuanced high frequency separation.
At least yours was way cooler. Visco filters. Mine was just.
Mine was embossed. It said Shintani.
Oh jeez. But okay, so and this is for Bram. Hi, Bram. This is because I know he would ask this question. How do you go from what did you do to get that big client? Like, how do you go from like shooting these little kind of smaller things? Like, how did Pretty Little Things like come to you?
Oh my gosh, they just reached out to me one day and was
on
like,
Instagram?
or emailed. But I did a test shoot, like a little editorial shoot, and they loved it. And then they were like, hey, we're actually looking for this exact style. And like, then I just started working with them.
You did a spec shoot for them? Or
no,
just
I just did it.
And they saw it. Like, you didn't reach out to them.
No.
Like, they just came across it.
Yeah, they just came across it. And that's why, for me, like, honestly, I always do creative shoots, test shoots, like for myself. One, for my sanity, because
seriously,
that's where I came. That's like that's really what made me fall in love with photography. Is like when I would put together these shoots, like these creative shoots for myself, and then like show it to the world. And so, I felt, and then, they just found me, and then they were like, became their photographer. I think I was shooting with them for maybe like 2.5, 3 years.
Nice. I want to hit that harder on the head though. It is so important for you photographers and aspiring photographers who are just starting out, especially, as well as veterans too. Like spec shoots, like you're absolutely right. Like that's why we'll often not get paid to do what we want to do the most. Like, like we have to often execute other people's visions, and that's fine. And perhaps our vision and theirs can meld, and that's the beauty of whatever. But like to have like something that is our own and telling our story exactly that's exactly how you get work.
Oh yeah. Well, especially for me, I started shooting e-com at one point and I hated it. Like, I'm sorry.
Why, do you not like sitting on Apple boxes for 8 hours?
I hated it. And so for me, like, it's like, yes, I can get a job as a photographer now that I was at that point. But I also was like, who do I want to be as a photographer? Like, I wanted to be my own entity. I wanted to get hired to do what I love to do.
Yeah.
And I want to shoot what I love to shoot. And if I can almost like show the client what kind of campaign they can get from me, prior to them like booking me, then I'd rather do that, I'd rather do these test shoots and then get booked for them at a way higher rate than,
and that way it's like you did something that you want to do for your sanity, but also it led to a job that perhaps maybe you didn't want to do, but hey, money makes everything feel better.
And I was just gonna say, yes, money's great and it's consistent.
It's my favorite thing.
But for me, like, I love change. Like, I don't think I can sit in a studio like.
Do you mean change like quarters, nickels, and dimes?
No.
We're talking about money.
No, change
No,
like
oh, environment. Like
environment.
like each set,
like each set needs to be different. Yeah, like creative. I like to be like one day, like I could be in studio. One day I'm outdoors. One day I'm in the mountains. One day I'm in Mexico. Like you know,
one day she's in the Maldives. One day she's in Turkey.
Which again, you are the person who works the most I've ever seen in fashion photography. Full stop.
Oh my! Well, to the top I go. Hopefully.
We are taking a little shot break. I'm gonna cut this, Shantani. Don't worry.
I mean, yeah, it's might as well now, right?
I have a client call at 9 a.m. and I have a flight to Hawaii at 10. I'm on vacation right now, bro.
I love that.
God, that tequila is delicious. What kind of tequila is that?
Dos Artes.
Wow, it looks so good.
Dos Artes, if you'd like to sponsor us, that'd be great. Save me about a few $1,000s a year.
Yeah, seriously. If you sponsor us, they don't even have to give us money. They just need to give us bottles.
Just alcohol.
Yeah. All right, Emilynn, jumping ahead, I wanted to kind of ask you and talk to you about kind of your approach to this, which is if anyone looks at your photography, there is a very strong theme that's persistent, which is the kind of subjects and models you put in front of your lens.
Even within her personal work, that I feel like when you were posting other stuff that wasn't client driven too, it was like lots of like different sizes, different ethnicities, different backgrounds, just pure beauty going through.
Yeah. Well, I love authenticity, you know, like I love when I'm with a model who feels just in love with herself, and I feel like it's so empowering, and I'm gravitating to it, and I want to be able to show in my work and in what I produce that women are made differently. There's so many different body shapes, there's different ethnicities, different everything. Like not one girl is the same, you know? And so I want people to feel empowered in any shape or form that they are. And because I love women. Like I love being able to see them in so many, yeah. Like I love women.
Cool.
Yeah.
I guess she loves, I guess we're out, Shantani.
Surprisingly, yeah, no, I don't, I'm not like in like with women, but, but I really can appreciate like a woman who feels good about themselves or who puts themselves out there. And, you know,
I will say that does come across in your work. Is I look at your work and I look at the women that you photograph, and again, like regardless of any size or shape or ethnicity, there's a joy that really permeates and comes across.
I love
that. But no, I'm being serious. Like that has to come from you. You're a very joyful person. Like,
Thank you.
By the way, listener, we met her outside. She gets out of her Tesla. It's 7:30 at night. It's dark out. She's wearing sunglasses. And then she could cross the street like a boss. I'm like, Emilynn, you know that's nighttime. But she's like, whatever. But like, it's just like that
you gotta
energy.
Be on brand.
You must. But like, there's this energy that just like, you know, I think anyone feels it being around you. That really, it must infuse into the model, because it, again, like regardless of shape or size or age or ethnicity, it comes out in all the women you shoot.
Wow, thank you.
No, but it really does, and that just has to come from passion. And I think what you just said is like you love to celebrate that. Yeah,
I mean, I everything I do is driven by passion. You know, I want to love what I do, work with people that I love, and be able to be inspired being at work. And it's weird because when I was younger, I never called it work. But then now, you know, you call it work because this is what we do Monday through Friday, Saturday. And so for me,
you do Saturdays.
You do Saturdays?
Sometimes, if it allows. Yeah.
I need a cash register sound drop here.
Yeah.
Money falling from the sky.
Here's a question. Obviously, fashion is this is no secret. 95% women demographic as far as like who we're marketing to. Although of course men. You've certainly shot men in the past.
Yeah.
Is there the passion there as far as connecting with a human being, or is it just like? There's
unfortunately not. No. I tried though.
Just a guy. It's like a bro.
Swear I have tried. I am. You know, I'm gonna try, but no, I don't know. Unfortunately, it doesn't hit the same.
Do you feel that's because of the talent? Is there a different energy, or the way you communicate and what's from the familiar language and how you communicate with women is inherent with?
I feel comfortable around women, and I feel like I am empowered and inspired by women, and there's nothing against me shooting men at all, but I'm just in, you know, it comes from inspiration. So I'm, you know, for me, like I'm gonna do what I'm most inspired by. I think it's also just like the connection.
Yeah.
Not that I have a hard time connecting with men. I have guy friends.
Yeah.
Clearly, two bros right here.
But I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. But maybe it comes from, I don't know.
Would you like to shoot Shintani and I?
No.
Nude.
Damn it. Oh my God. Listener,
cuddle.
the disdain on her face when she answered that truthfully
He'll be
was
big
amazing.
Spoon, I'll be small spoon.
Yeah.
It's going to be
I definitely get to be big spoon for once.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Emilynn, also in your work reflects a lot of women of color and a lot of minorities. You being a woman of color, Asian descent, do you feel a certain like inherent draw to? Is it just like you don't even really think about it? Like you graft towards like shooting women of color. Not that you don't shoot, you're Asian, European, Caucasian as well, but like. Do you feel like, I guess my question is that purposeful? Is it something you're doing?
I think that's just who I am
as a choice.
too.
You're just drawn to that.
It's interesting to see that like my work does project me who I am internally too, because I think like every race like is beautiful. So if I get to shoot someone who moves amazing, like I'm with it, like I'm there and I'm down to capture that performance in that body,
Yeah.
But, it does also come from me growing, like when I moved to America, I'm from the Philippines. So I moved to America. I grew up in Hawthorne, primarily diverse, Hispanics, Blacks, Asians. So I think that like growing up around so much beautiful diversity and culture, I wanted to share that as well. And that's also the kind of people that like I'm also gravitated to, like I'm comfortable with and I, talk well with. And so it feels right.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's very cool.
And when I first came to America too, it was funny because like I remember thinking like, wow, like I'm in the melting pot. Like in the Philippines, like everyone's Filipino.
That's true.
Like it's just, like no other, like different types of Filipinos, but everyone's Filipino. So coming to America, I was just like introduced immediately to so many different types of culture. And I'm an intrigued little girl. I'm like a cat. Like I'm just like
You're like
curious
Adam Driver,
about,
a cat.
I'm just curious about everything. So,
That's tight.
all the cultures are just, everything's so
Well, especially
beautiful.
in LA when we have such a rich, talk about melting pot.
Yeah.
It's like right for the picking. So
Yeah.
it really makes sense. That's really cool.
Yeah, so that's inspiring to me.
It's Lucas again. Ugh, I know, right? Sorry, Shintani will be back next episode. Don't worry. Did you know you can write into the show at ishootLApodcast@gmail.com? You can nominate potential future guests, tell us which mirrorless camera brand has the best ISO performance. I'm sure we'll hear all the details. Or you can ask us questions like this one right here. Rick from the Bay Area wrote in and wants to know, hey guys, for test shoots, how many edited photos do you end up giving the model or agency? Well, thanks for writing in, Rick. Your answer is 10 to 15. I mean, if it's 2022 or beyond, most likely you're doing a free test for an agency and you don't want to spend a lot of your free time like doing a ton of images. And the agency is not going to use more than like 10. I mean, really, they're going to use like 2 or 3 at the most. The model's not going to post or use more than 10, probably 0 to 3 at the most. And you're not going to use 10 or 15. You're probably going to use 3 or 4 at the most. So this is where you need to like delineate what's good and what's great. And what's great statistically probably is only 10 to 15 images from a total set. So hope that answers your question. And again, you guys can ask us any questions and we'll answer them in the episode, or even better, you can leave us a voicemail and we'll play it on air too. Contact information for both are in this episode's show notes. We look forward to hearing from you. And now, back to the show. Hey, awesome. So, Emilynn, we have questions for you. People wrote in. They want to know things from you. And I think,
wow.
So it's a little segment we like to call Kuestions Korner.
Question Korner. What do you want to know? Yeah, what do you want to know?
This is amazing. I'm on board with Question Korner.
Thank you, Sheehan.
Wow.
Thank you, Sheehan.
I love this.
I know, she's amazing.
It's epic.
Thank you, Sheehan. So, someone wants to know, who were your earliest influences? Was there a particular editorial story or photography series that inspired you to go into photography? Now, we did say America's Next Top Model, but more specifically, perhaps a photographer or like an editorial. Like, what?
Well, Ellen von Unworth, huge. She was a huge inspiration for me, like growing up. I mean, she was, she was a female photographer, and I was like, okay, well, I already knew when I was younger, entering to this industry is definitely going to be, competing against men. So I think that was really inspiring that she has been, one of the top photographers for such a long time.
For like 40 years.
Yeah, literally. Just, and I mean, come on, that Wonderland cover she did.
Yeah.
Like, even till this
she
day,
just crushes it. Like,
even till this, I'm literally like, wow, shout out Ellen, because you're just amazing.
I'm not being rude. I'm going through my Instagram. I actually have a picture with Ellen von Unworth.
Oh my gosh, can I see, please? Yeah,
this is not good. I'll send it to you later, but I was at a book release party for her, and I was like, Ellen, you got it. She's like, okay. I'll take a picture with you, random guy. But okay, so Ellen von Unworth. So, very cool. Here's another one. You're always traveling abroad for shoots. I'm doing okay with local clients, but how do I level up to get to travel like you? Do you pitch these shoots and clients agree, or is it the client's idea? Basically they want a free trip to Italy. So
I don't know.
What was your first international?
I feel like I manifested. I manifested that though, because I was like, growing up, I never traveled. We never had the money to travel, and I was just like, I'm gonna do photography, and if I do it, like, I'm gonna be able to travel all over the world, and and so I'm blessed enough that it has. But I've also shown clients that I could travel, and I would be someone that's good to travel with. I've never really pitched it. Like,
you pack light. What do you mean?
No, like that.
She's like, no,
but actually,
3 full-size bays.
You can also, it comes back to that conversation where we're like, could you do everything if you didn't have a team?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Because when you travel, it becomes different. Like, I just did that.
Well, I do remember you showing up when we were in Kuestions, and I think you had a pro photo like head on you. Like, she had like a D2 or B2 head on her.
I had a B10.
You had a B10?
In Primala in Mexico.
I was like, yo, girl, you got a full fucking like strobe going right now.
Real quick.
We're not half-assing anything.
You got that B10 through customs? Because I've brought a B1 through customs, and they thought I had a bomb.
Oh, for sure.
I had a B1 and 2 batteries.
I always have to take it out.
Yeah.
But I was just, I was just in Mexico in January for the shoot I did with Cali Water with Vanessa Hudgens, and
small flex.
And no, like,
she did flex there. Like, literally, she flexed her arm. That's super cool.
And then I couldn't bring my assistant. I asked if I could bring my team, and they were like, "No, we'll get you a team in Mexico." And that's one of the times where I had to be without a team.
Hell yeah!
And this person didn't even know how to use a reflector.
Yeah,
it was like.
But aren't you glad you had that skill? You're like, all right, well, I'll
exactly.
chill.
Like, I'm really glad, and they love the photos, and like, it was great. It's just, going back to that is, you do sometimes traveling. You need to know how to be able to execute these projects, by yourself or, with the team that you might not know. So, I think also just creating relationships.
Yep.
And, when you shoot, like, when I first started traveling as like a photographer, it wasn't like I was shooting campaigns and traveling. Like, I started off being like people's personal photographers, like where I would travel with them and documenting like the trip or documenting like, their outfits or, whatever they want to post on social media.
Which is huge though, because I feel like I don't know. I never got to experience that part, but like I know a lot of friends who have done that too. And I'm always like, damn, you get like the most intimate moments for some of these massive brands and names who like you can't find that anymore.
I think that's so important what you just said, Emilynn, which is so many, and you just go on the forum. I've said this a lot, but like you go on the forums of all these photography cultures and websites, and they always, it's so much emphasis is put on gear and lenses and which is better, Sony or Phase or blah blah. It's like that's such a small part of it.
It's
gear, tech. Like you said, at worst, you can hire everyone to do that for you.
Yeah.
But like
it's all a feeling.
All about relationships.
Like,
it's all about networking.
Like it's about networking, but it's about like vibes and just like making sure that your like aesthetics is also coming out through those vibes and through those moments.
Yeah, you can talk to Vanessa Hudgens and not lose your shit and just be like, oh, hey, what's up? So, you know, like Shantana, you've shot supermodels.
And I scream every time.
You've shot celebrities.
Oh my God.
I've shot a few. But it's just like, hey, they just want to know like you're a normal person who can hold a conversation and like give a little direction and be normal.
Be normal. Be cool.
Jesus, be normal. Yeah, that's interesting.
Well,
and not overly like
professional.
Exactly.
Like,
just be professional for sure.
You're there to do a job.
But also just like, I think, treat them like a normal person. Because they are a normal person.
Yeah, they want to be treated like they actually want to be talked to normally and not be asked about 1,000 normal tropey questions.
Yeah.
After 45 selfies with them.
Exactly.
Like, I'm like, let's be professional.
That was me and Jason Derulo. Like, no, I didn't. I was blinking, man. Can we do it one more time? He's like, sure. Yeah, I think my first international job was in Tulum. And the client was just like, hey, he just called me. He's like, hey, do you want to go to Mexico? Why not? I was like, yes. So what was your first international job?
I mean, I was assisting, so
fair enough.
First one's
but first
like
as like as a professional then.
Oh,
or as,
on my own?
Yeah.
Paris.
Paris. Lovely.
I don't know. Like, yeah.
Nice.
Well, when I was assisting, I mean, like assisting wise, like, yeah, I'd probably done.
Patty. Oh.
Wait, I don't have Paris music though. That's not Paris music.
That's so crazy. So you traveled as an assistant. That's really cool. You know what? I got you guys. I'm gonna travel my assistant. Manifesting that.
No, yeah.
Cool.
I mean, like when I first started assisting, I was like, we had done like London, Romania, Paris. We had done Mexico, like Germany, everywhere. So it wasn't like it wasn't weird.
Yeah. And so that to you was just like, okay, now I get to say.
And so now I'm just leading this now.
Yeah.
When we did it. So yeah, and Paris. I think Paris was the first one. It was for Revolve actually.
Well, very nice, Emily. I guess Mr. Paris over here. Jeez.
No, I don't know, but that's the thing though. It's like traveling with the team too. Is like even this current job coming up. They were asking me, they're like, well, we don't have the budget for your entire team to come, but like, what would you like prefer? And I was like, at least my first. I was like, give me one first.
At least my first, like always.
Like, hey, by the way, next time you need to go to Paris for work, can I be your first?
By all means.
Yeah, I don't really know how to light that well.
Then maybe by not all means.
Emilynn, someone wants to know, how often do you, this is what I was talking about earlier. How often do you hire new assistants and what do you look for? I don't have any experience, but I don't know how to get experience if people don't hire me. So this person's basically wanting to work for you. But like, so like, what's for you personally? Like, what's the criteria?
Can you? I got to say that one more time.
Man, those Yankee candles, this Vanilla Jasmine's really
flew right through my head.
How often do you hire new assistants, and what do you look for? Okay. I don't have any experience, but I know how to get experience. But I don't know how to get experience if people don't hire me. So that's a classic. That's a classic catch-22.
Yeah,
but like,
no, I get it. It's really hard because, obviously, like to get to where you are, you always should assist. But I think that like there's so many people who assist multiple people. On my team, though, I definitely like to hire one or two people and then just make sure like have them in rotation. Yeah. Like right now, like my first, like the one I'm training to be my first is literally like with me all the time. Like she's available. And then my lighting tech is like, we've been together for like a year now, but if he's not available, I have my roster of people who like, fill in if he's not available, who I've worked with, and I'm like, okay, they can do the job. Is there anything that like you add? So let's say someone emails you and you're like, cool. Do you do a Zoom? Do you / FaceTime? Do you just correspond over email? Do you have them come in? Like what? Like let's say someone cold. Like okay, so when I hire assistants, I normally want an email. One, it needs to be a professional email already. Thank you. Shantana was talking about that a couple episodes ago. It's like if you can't even spell the right words, like how am I going to trust you with gear around or talking to clients? Yeah, you shouldn't open with sup. Or just kind of like,
sup, girl, if it just
like if it doesn't seem like. Also, it's just like I want to feel like some kind of like vibe even through the email. Sure. Yeah. And then Yeah, and then if I feel right, like as I'm emailing them, I'll do like a preliminary Zoom and then meet with them in person after.
Yeah.
Are you looking at portfolios? Are you looking at Instagram?
Definitely looking at their portfolios, but like more so, like I'm making sure that they know how to be personable. Well, for my first, like at least like personable, fast on their feet. I want to make sure that they know how to switch lenses. They know how to, they know what equipment is.
Yep.
At least in like the base level.
Like general competency to like
and know what a C-stand is, like know how to open a C-stand. But before I would hire people that like didn't really know much and I would train them. Like I was, hiring more interns and I would train them to do it. Unfortunately, I can't do that really right now because it's just like it's such a fast paced like environment.
It's a lot of energy.
It's just a lot. So like they at least need to know the base level of like equipment. And then, I mean, for me, really being fast on your feet. Like I'm not talking about like, hey, go grab me my lens. I'm talking about like, go grab him my lens, like now.
Yeah, like Little Kim was saying in her interview, it's like anticipate my needs. Like
exactly. Yeah. I need my assistant to like already be thinking about like what I need. Yeah. And sometimes like it's just like understanding how I am because that takes time, you know. So that's why it's like for me, it's hard. I don't like to switch out like so often because I try to have my assistants for at least a year. Like I'm always a supporter of knowing that like my assistants are one day going to be photographers in their own. So like I obviously encourage that, but I know that like at least a year, you know. Yeah. Someone who's loyal too, because it's like like right now, like one of my apprentices, like I get him jobs because I can't do all the jobs anymore, but I'd rather get like my apprentices jobs, you know, like. And so,
can you get me and Shantani jobs, please?
No, you guys are too good on your own. Stop. You guys got this.
Shantani, what do you look for when you when new assistants inquire?
Professionalism. I think in the 100%. Overall it's professionalism. But like outside of that, it's like just seeing if they have a drive.
Drive.
Yeah. Prior to COVID, it was a lot of like, well, let's meet at a bar and like see if you can last an hour with me. Like honestly, I was like because being personable with someone is like seeing the communication, how they react to you when you're loose, kind of like carries on professionally, I think, like on set. So it's kind of like seeing like if they can read a room right.
See, I feel the opposite. I feel like I can't even get close with my like assistants because like I've had times where they definitely like overstepped.
Oh, no. I get that too. I'm just saying like, so for the general the interview, like for the general interview prior to COVID, because like now it's like Zoom and like referrals and stuff like that. But like prior to that, it was like, you want to meet with them because you want to know that when they're on set, they understand that like, do not talk to my client. Like just, we are the communication
don't get like
center.
Offended. Like I think some people get so like quickly offended. I'm like,
yeah, you're there to help me. I'm not there to help you.
Fair enough. Well, what do you look for? I can tell you this. Going on that, I remember this so vividly because I will never forget this. I was doing a job in Malibu. It was a whole kind of rig. We had permitted the beach. It was 15 people on set plus 15, not 50. I'm not that famous, guys. But I remember having a guy come on. I was paying him like kind of as a third. And because he was like, hey, I want to help you out. I'm like, great, I'll pay you as a third. It was like $150 for the day. It's fine. I get that it was a low pay. But I remember, we had a 20 by 20 setup and he planted himself on the medium roller to make sure as I'm shooting, he's on his phone. He's just holding the C-stand, making sure it doesn't blow over. And as I'm shooting, he's just looking and scrolling on his phone. I'm like, you're dead to me. It just, A, that looks terrible. And B, like, I get that you're only getting this much, but that you have to be professional. You can't not scroll for 5 seconds. You know what I mean?
I mean, especially when you're like shooting. I feel like as a photographer or director, if you're actively shooting, I'm like, dude, just pay attention. We shoot for we're stills. We shoot for tops 5 minutes. Yeah, exactly. Straight. I'm like, get off your phone for 5 minutes.
I wish I only shot for 5 minutes. Sometimes I'm like,
no, at a time, hitting trigger and looking
lifting
at
your
things.
head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you not be on the phone for 5
everything
seconds?
else is probably going to go into directing and stuff like that. But
actually, I don't mind that sometimes. For me, it's once the light is set and we're just you know, I think that's the problem though. I'm too chill sometimes, and people step all over me. Yo, I had a fucking
That story of my life.
I had a fucking guy one time like tell me on set like he was grip, and he literally told me, because he wasn't grip. He was like lighting assistant 3.
Yeah,
and so like I was talking to my lighting tech about like, hey, okay, so we're gonna move this lighting, and then I was testing, and then out of nowhere, this guy goes, okay, well, if we're not figuring it out, but like this is how I like to do things. Let me put this light here, and I was just like,
bro,
wait, what?
Stab him in the
Here's my
heart.
question.
Take a kidney.
Here's my question. Do you think he would have said that same thing to a male photographer?
No, definitely not. He was like, I was cool with him in the beginning. And I was like, after that, I was like, no way.
As a third gaffer, he would have said, yeah.
Yeah, he was like a third assistant. Yeah, he wasn't even, because my right hand and, you know, like level down. Yeah, because I didn't even know this guy. Like, he was just like,
he was
hired
for someone.
He was just hired to, you know, make sure like grip's good and like an extra body, because this was an outdoor shoot.
Yeah.
And so we needed like body.
Sorry, this could be a whole nother podcast, and perhaps it should, but like, God, we didn't even touch this.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I really
you know what I'm going to say, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
What?
She's a female photographer. How much fucking misogynism and mansplaining?
Because you guys don't have to think about it. That's why you guys didn't ask me.
We just got woke.
That's true.
God.
No.
Listen, it's an hour-long podcast, and we were actually. I was interested more in like your beginnings and stuff.
No, I'm just kidding with you guys. You guys are honestly the best. You guys.
Part two, right? You're coming back, right? Obviously.
But
no, real quick,
really, so. Oh my goodness, yes, because I had to do like a pause and just kind of like, there were so many times like I'll walk in with my lighting tech, and even it still happens till this day, and I'm like, did you not read the call sheet? Like, I would walk in and they would go to my lighting tech and be like, oh, are you the photographer? Or like, oh, like, you know, like, you're the photographer today. Nice to meet you. And I'm like, no, I'm over here. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
This 5 foot tall, 20-something Filipina comes in.
And then, so like, even the other day, like somebody was on set, and then like, it was like they were, one of the models, they look at me and like, I guess like we were all just chilling in the beginning. So I had my sunglasses on, so I wasn't really like, you know, paying attention. And then like we finally, like, she gets in front of my camera, but my lighting, my first assistant was setting everything up for me, was doing the test and everything. And then so once we were ready to start, like I go and I get in front of my camera, and she goes, oh my gosh, you're the photographer. And I'm just like, well, I was just like, I don't know.
Here's what I can relate is sometimes it's almost the exact mirror thing of your situation. People think I'm the model. And they're like, "Oh, you're the photographer." We thought, we thought that you were the model, and I was like, "God, okay.
No, but like,
I'm gorgeous.
Thank you, but I am the photographer, in fact."
Not the same thing at all. Like, I don't think great to try to relate.
Okay, wait. So in not in the same, but like in sort of context, I feel like just being not white. It's been a thing where it's like I've been on set before where like you find some clients where you're working with like for at least stills wise, if you're shooting secondary with motion, and it's like, you know, you have like a white dude that's like directing whatever the commercial is. Mm-hmm. And even in the same context, it's like he's actually secondary for the for what it is, and the key art is the main thing. And I've had this problem before where like
key art being you.
Yeah. And so they're just running like supplemental, like just motion stuff for assets for them. And understanding motion, I'm like, yeah, here's priority. Like, take the time you need, but I do need to get my shot. And I've had some of them before where they just try to like railroad you. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, maybe if I was like a bigger white dude, like maybe different. And I can only imagine it being 20 times to 1,000 times worse, like just not being on the opposite like end of that.
I think it's one, like I definitely look young, and so people don't expect that I'm like coming in as the photographer, which I get, but I think like sometimes like whenever I catch people who go straight to my tech and be like, oh, like, are you like, because they're obviously taking out my gear, taking out everything like that, they're expecting that they are. And you know, I think that that's kind of like, oh, when is that going to change? But
well, you're like, yeah, because that's my help.
But you know what? But you know what though? Times are changing, and like there's a lot of times where I'm even like, because now it's changing because also like the clients are coming to me and like requesting me.
They know who you are.
They know who I am, and so but now I get to actually like even like produce and put names out of other female leads. Like the last, so the fragrance campaign I did, I really, really wanted a female DP. And so I like been following this girl and I was like, okay, like I really want you to be on this job. And like, I've been following you, like you're really great at it. And that's so rare to find a female DP, you know? And so I love her work. And so her name's Shishi, by the way. So follow her.
Her name's Shishi?
Shishi.
I love that.
Yeah.
What's up, Shishi?
Yeah.
I can't even talk.
Love
Shishi.
her. Yeah. She's also a director though. So like,
nice.
But
DP and director. Nice.
I would also say that like the higher level you end up going though, it's kind of like the same with working celebrities, but like the higher level you go, the clientele respects, and they're very fully aware of who they're hiring.
Yeah.
So like whether it's like a female, a color, anything like that, it's like they know who they're hiring at a certain level. I think that's where you run into like a lot of these like things. It's like that climb up into that is like where you get people who are like super judgmental on so many things because they still aren't even there yet. Yeah. So
no, and it's sometimes more it's like the random teams, you know, like I'll catch like until like there was this one time like I was actually unloading my own camera stuff. And I was like picking some, like I have this like foldable ladder that like I love it because like I'm 5 feet, guys. So like
send a link.
No,
send
the
a link.
foldable ladder, it's so clutch. But like yeah, like so it looked like I was kind of carrying, I guess, like some things. And like this one PA, he was a guy, and he kind of just like brushed me over, and then like literally
a PA brushed you over.
Set him on fire.
No, literally like not even like brushed me over, like was walking and then like didn't say excuse me, just pushed me right through. And I was just like,
that's just rude for
I
like
literally
human conduct.
No, seriously. So I had to pull him to the side, and I'm like, yo, we're not doing this today. You're not acting like that to anybody on set. Just so you know, I'm the photographer, but even if I was just anybody, seriously, you are not ever going to be doing that.
Yeah, that like in an office, that would be terrible. Like to anybody.
Take out his kidneys.
Yeah. No, and I get it. Like
you're
some
canceled,
call times,
kid.
and like sometimes call times are early, so I get it. But I'm such
even if it's
basic human conduct.
No, seriously, no excuse.
We're not doing
that. So
seriously,
I guess like
that's insane.
you know, so yeah, sometimes it does like I see it and I'm like always like even that guy that I was telling you guys like who mansplained me on my set on how he likes to do light. I called him out and I was just like, actually no, like this is how I like to do things. I'm talking to my tech right now. Like I'll ask you like for your opinion if I want, you know?
Well, you
and
go,
then luckily
this is why your day
my
rates
tech,
this.
but like, and that's another thing. I mean, honestly, like I'm all for like working as a team together. Like I'm all for like, if you have recommendations on like how you want to do things, you know, how you would light it. But to say like, this is how I like to do it. I forgot.
Okay, wait. So I do have to say this though. And I think this is part of that whole like rising up kind of a situation though, is like where you have people who just literally do not understand how business works, how communication works, how all of this like reading a room works. And so you get people who are, yes, they might be talented, but if they say shit like that when you're on set, you're like, bro, you're gonna say that to a client. You're gonna like you're gonna find an art you're gonna get an art deck, like a creative deck, and you're gonna be like, I think I know better than you.
No,
and they're going to be like, tight,
read the room.
You're not hired. Like, that's all it is straight up. So, like, understand how to read a room.
And also, like, I think that there's, on set, especially the bigger set that you get on, there's tiers of, like, communication. Because then everyone's just throwing ideas, and there's too many cooks in the kitchen. You know? So, it's just, like, also just knowing that, one, there's a job that needs to be executed, and two, that like you need to be respectful of like where your place is on that job.
Seriously,
you know,
yeah.
And even every job's important, but sometimes it's like we need to be thinking, and like we need to just like take a second and think on our own, and not have so many opinions getting thrown at us, right?
Well, especially as an assistant, like when I assisted, I feel like it was like you needed to know your like not your place in your role, but like if you're not first, like if you're first, you're with the photographer or director.
Yeah.
If you are lighting tech, you are with the photographer. If you are digitech, you are with the photographer. Now, if you are second, third, or PA, you don't talk to anyone other than the first. because your role is not to bother or like give more anxiety to like directing or photographer as it is. So like
I love my second and thirds too though. They're freaking dope. But like, and we all collaborate. It's just like they all like what I love about my team that I have now is like they really don't see me as like a young photographer. They just see me as like their friend who wants to like they want me to execute this job. Like we're you know, and it's like just be that team player with no ego. Like don't come into my set and then start thinking like I had like there's this kind of like energy that I get that it's like I'm so cool with people that then they'll start throwing their opinions as if like they're the ones shooting. Like I had this crazy tech one time. Oh my gosh. He was literally telling me my angles. He would be like, go lower. Yeah. Like that's good. Go higher. And I'm just like,
bro,
but it's projection. It's they see me and then they're like, oh, she's cool. Like, oh, I can mold her. I can like, she can become my partner or I could be her.
I get
her
it, but
first,
it's like, you know, but you have
like,
your time,
and I'm just
guy.
Like,
let this,
And so, it was absurd.
Bro. Well, Emilynn,
but I go through that. So, but now I'm like, thankfully I have a great team. Haven't been through it in a minute, but you know, that's why I'm like, keep good people close.
Oh,
you know?
100%.
Emilynn, I think I met you when you were like 24. And if it makes you feel cool, I can say this. I've never thought of you ever as a young photographer or really as this capital F female photographer. I've only ever seen you as a photographer.
Thank you.
Who does dope fucking work.
Thank you.
And who works way more than anybody I've ever seen in my life.
Oh no,
you know, like when you get to a certain level, it's the work speaks for itself, and it's about the individual, regardless of checking boxes in some kind of form. So
I love that. No, thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, we were talking about that when I first met you, and you were like, you told me your age, and I was like, no idea.
I was Asian?
No, age.
Oh, I was like,
I mean, Shatati, it's
you
can kind of just look at her. You can kind of see she's Asian, dude.
No, like when we first started talking about it, I remember like we were talking about like it was like, you know, kind of in the same context of like where'd you come up from, like all sorts of stuff, and like you're doing dope shit, it's super dope, like everything's tight. And then I was like, yes, like how long have you been doing this for? And you're like, oh yeah, for like this many years. I was like, oh shit, that's way tight. And then you're like, I started when I was like 16. And I was like, what? Wait a minute. I was like, oh shit, you like, that's super tight.
Yeah, but at some point the work speaks for itself. And I mean, I get it. Like, here's the thing is like, a lot of crew, it's just like, they want to be you. Meaning like the person in charge. They want to be the photographer. But like, again, this goes back to what I was saying earlier. Just because you understand the philosophy of photography, the technical photography, doesn't mean that you can be the main photographer because it's about relationships. It's about networking. It's about personability. It's about being able to handle talent, handle client, bounce it off, be a leader. And not everyone can do that. They can know how to light the shit out of something, but they don't know how to talk to
people.
Vanessa Hudgens. And so they get a little whatever.
But it's also like when you're on set like that's your job is to be what you're there for.
Correct.
Well, especially because like I feel like when you're shooting too, like it's so fucking stressful already as you're doing it that like you only want to hear like one other voice coming in
because you're already worrying about in your head like composition, lighting, like are the clients happy? Do the clients like it? Like because
my lens cap off.
Oh my god, I did that today.
Did you really?
No, oh my gosh, the look every time I'm like, why is it black?
It happens to me all the time. All the time.
I legit was on set today and like I had my camera and like model was like, lens cap. And I was like, what? And they're like, lens cap. And I was like, what are you talking about? But I was like, my bad.
Hey, it happens to us all.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's all a teamwork thing. Like I could not be here like where I'm at without like a team because it's hard. It's hard out there. Like when there was a moment where I was like using a lighting tech who me and him were really great, but then like the comfortability level started getting too like disrespectful. There was a moment where I was like without a solid good lighting tech for like 3 months, and it was really hard, you know, like especially like on what?
Oh no,
because it's like it's like a synergy on set, you know, when you have your first or where you have your lighting tech, where it's like they're almost just like thinking about like what you're about to do, and you're like, oh, perfect, you know, and so
that's
so important.
Yeah, because it's like I've gotten that way, just not only in photography but in other kind of professional relationships, where it's like when I'm working under somebody, and it's I can get comfortable with them, but I never forget that there's a line, and that there's a hierarchy. And as comfortable as I can be, like there's just it just sucks that like especially in crew, like below the line, they kind of forget that. Like give them an inch, they walk all over you, kind of.
But that happens sometimes.
You know, it's a bummer. Guys, we could do a part 2. This is I really did want to know all about your humble beginnings and your inspiration. And I think that's what's important for this part 1.
Yeah, of course.
I think there's a lot we can actually get into about, you know, being especially a young female in this industry. But I guess until then,
hoo-wee, what a cliffhanger! Oh boy!
we will have you back for part 2, because man, that's a whole nother. Shantani and I will basically just shut up and let's let you just talk about it.
Monologue us.
Man.
No, but, thank you so much for having me. This is so well. One, I'm so glad to see you guys. I honestly always have respected both of you guys' work, and you know, just like you guys in general.
Well, the respect is right back at you. Like, I mean, again, like your work and your accomplishments and your client roster, and just again that's the body of everything you've done, and you're not even remotely close to 30, pisses me off so much. No, I feel like
you didn't hold the camera until you were 30.
I know, that's what I mean. Like, why did I?
But look, no, everyone's journey starts at their own time.
Yeah, correct.
You know, so whatever age you are,
Rose,
30, 20, 10 years old, like
very true.
Whenever you're meant to start in whatever path you're meant to be.
So anyway, so until next time, part 2.
Sweet.
This is Lucas Passmore for Christian, Tani, and Emilynn Rose saying, stay hot, LA.
Are we doing plugs still?
Huh?
Are we doing plugs still?
What do you mean?
Like follow at or like?
Oh, it's all in the show notes.
Oh,
okay.
Look at the show notes, guys.
Oh, wow.
Look at the show notes.
Bye.
Bye.
It's like a telephone.
I have to pee so bad.
Go pee.
Oh my God. Just still recording.